Hey guys, I'm going to show you some cable stakes that I make. They work really good. When I started out trapping, I just used rebar T-stakes, and it was fine for the first couple of years because I didn't have that many traps. But when you start putting a bunch of traps out and you're walking your line, uh, rebar stakes get pretty heavy, so I really didn't want to buy cable stakes because they're pretty expensive. So I came up with my own design here, and it's a retrievable stake, so they're easy to retrieve. So what I start with is a long piece of pipe, and I cut it into they're about 2.5 inches from here to here, 2.5 inches, and I cut it at about a 45-degree angle. And what you want is, if I already had a stake driver that I already made right here, and I found the right size pipe that goes into it for the driver, so that works good. And all I do is I take 1/8 inch nuts, and I'll weld one on the top in the center like that, and then here you can see on this one that I made, doesn't have the cables, you can see the one in the middle on the top where you attach your chain to for your trap, and this is for the other cable to retrieve it. So this is what it looks like without the cables. So I'll show you putting the cables on. These are cables I had on it, which they're pretty long for what I wanted, so I cut them off, and I'm going to make them shorter. So what I do is I just put a ferrule on, put it through, and you want to make this loop down here, not really tight, because you want it to be able to pivot. So you make it too tight, it gets all messed up. So you want just enough. You want to make and have some coming out the end there. So you make sure it doesn't come out. And then what I do is take the crimpers, and just crimp it down, and then it's still pretty long, and from the end of each loop I like them to be 16 inches. So this one's like 21 and a half, and that's pretty long, but sometimes I trap in areas that have really soft soil, so I make a few longer than others, but I usually make them 16 inches from the end of each loop. So cut that loop off, put a ferrule on. I'm using 3 30-second cable, 7x7. So poke that end down through. We'll measure it from loop to loop. And that's about 16 right there. So I'll crimp this down. So it looks like there's where you attach your quick link to your chain to your trap, and you got the end piece here. Now I'll put the cable onto that one, and you want the cable on the bottom nut to be probably an inch or two longer, because you want that to be sticking out of the ground still, at least above the other one, so you can pull your trap out easy. So we're gonna put another ferrule on. And I can make these pretty cheap compared to buying them. I won't say how much I make them for, because I plan on making a bunch and maybe selling them to market them, because it's really a really good idea, I think, and I think I can make some money off of them. So I won't tell you guys that. And then you got, make sure your loop is big enough so it can pivot. And from loop to loop, you want it to be about an inch or two. So this is 18 inches. So I'll crimp this down. I'll just go ahead and hammer it down just a little bit to make it fit a little better. So this is what the finished steak looks like. What you're gonna do is it's gonna be like going straight down into the ground, and this one is gonna be where your trap is. So you drive it in the ground, and when you get to the depth you want, to the end of where your chain just barely goes in the ground, you're gonna pull a stake out and pull up on the one that your chain is on, and it's gonna lock it in like this. And I made a stake puller, which basically like ones that you can buy off of trapping supply stores. And this is what the other cable's for. This cable is gonna be the loop is just gonna be sticking out of the ground, but you can still bury it in your trap bed. So your stake is still like that. When you pull your stake up, this makes it a lot easier than just pulling on with a single cable. And this is why I made a double, because it makes it really easy. So when you pull up on this one, since it's at the end there, it's just gonna, when you pull up on it, it's gonna reverse it, so it'll come back up out of the hole that you drove it in. So it makes it a lot easier. and you can see I got a bunch in there that I need to make up. So they do work really good. I've used them for probably 2-3 years now. Haven't had any problems with them. Haven't had any problems with the nuts breaking off, but you just gotta weld them on right. So that's my cable stakes that I make. Said I wouldn't give you the prices because I make them really cheap compared to store-bought ones, and they work really good. So plan on selling these, marketing them. So if I sell them, I plan on selling them for probably $25 to $30 a dozen. So if you're interested in any, just let me know, and I'll try and get you hooked up with these because I really recommend these. Really good. So I'll talk to you later.